There once was a crew in a truck. We decided to go push our luck. I grabbed the red flag, but then I got tagged. Seriously, let us pick the freaking game mode. CTF and stockpile suck. Hey guys, James here again with another game review, this time talking about Halo Infinite, the newest entry in the iconic Halo franchise. Halo probably doesn't need any introductions, as it very well could be the greatest FPS franchise of all time, but for anyone unaware, in Halo you play as a group of space marines called Spartans, and duke it out against enemies in a classic arena shooter experience. I have to admit though, unlike a lot of other people talking about the game right now, I actually don't have that much time put into the Halo franchise or much nostalgia for the series, even though I can recognize its impact on gaming. I personally only really played Combat Evolved, and I have a bit of experience with Halo 2, so in many ways, Infinite is a return to the series for me. So what did I think? How is Halo Infinite to someone who isn't really a big Halo fan? Also, for the purposes of this review, I'm going to be focusing solely on the multiplayer experience and not the campaign. I might play the campaign down the line, especially if they include co-op, but for now, I've been sinking my teeth into the online multiplayer experience, and honestly, overall, I'm really enjoying Infinite. The game just scratches an itch that a lot of the latest shooters just don't hit, and it's nice to see an FPS game that brings back the fun and classic feel of arena shooters into the world. So, without further ado, let's dive into this review. Let's start with the core combat mechanics. After playing a decent amount, I gotta say that I truly do think the gunplay and combat feels really good. I feel like the game really rewards skill without being ridiculously difficult. It's still very much your classic Halo experience, and so understandably, some people are really gonna like it, and some might not find it anything particularly special, but I still think it's quite satisfying when you can string some kills together. Halo innately has a longer time to kill, as you are required to first take out an enemy's shield before you can finish them off. Because of this longer time to kill, I think there's a lot of room to outplay opponents, but it's not necessarily so long where it can feel like fights never end, or are unwinnable against better opponents. Very rarely, if ever, do I have fights where I feel like I should have won something or something the enemy did was total BS, and in general, I can totally recognize if I get outplayed or if I just suck. I think a big part of why the gunplay is so satisfying is the fact that Infinite offers a very wide variety of weapons, each with their own uses. I'm not going to say all the weapons feel balanced, but overall, I like most of the weapons available, even some of the more niche ones. In particular, I find the battle rifle and the sidekick pistol to be really nice to use. They bring back a number of Halo classics, and I really enjoy being able to test out and mess around with the different weapons. There are guns I'm not necessarily a huge fan of personally, but the only gun which I found I really disliked was probably the Pulse Carbine, which just seems impossible to hit anybody with. I should also point out they have a really good training area in the game which does a solid job of teaching you some of the basics of combat, which is important for people new to the series given how shields work in the game. They give you plenty of challenges and practice areas with different guns too, which really allows you to develop your skills and figure out the unique mechanics for every gun. Of course, a big new change which apparently has some of the community heated is the addition of the sprint and slide functions to the game. Overall, I don't really have complaints about these, and I think they feel pretty solid. Sprinting seems to give a fairly small boost, and I never had fights where I thought sprinting caused me not to be able to get my weapon out in time. Sliding is also cool and makes you far more mobile, although admittedly I do need to incorporate it more into my game. They also have a number of pretty cool abilities in the game, including invisibility, shields, and more. You need to find these on the battlefield, and they can be huge in the outcome of fights. A particularly fun one is the grapple hook, which, if you've seen just about any other Halo Infinite video, you would know everyone and their mothers has been praising its implementation. I'm here to confirm that, yeah, the grapple hook is a lot of fun and never really feels overpowered. Whenever I'm killed by someone who's using the hook, I just give them props because it was probably a pretty sick move. Currently, the game offers a few different game options, with the main experiences being a 4v4 casual or ranked mode, as well as Big Team Battle, a 12v12 mode which can be a lot of dumb fun. Within each of these modes, they offer different game types, including Slayer, which is a deathmatch mode, Capture the Flag, and much more. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm really not a fan of Capture the Flag, Stockpile, or Oddball modes, since in all of these you need to grab things in order to score, and this prevents you from using a normal weapon while being held. Honestly, I think it's pretty dumb that they didn't let us choose the game types we want to queue for. Like seriously, what year is this? Wasn't this something that's been in pretty much every shooter since Halo 2? Apparently they're planning on implementing it very soon, but really this should have been in from the start. I also would have liked to have seen some other fan favorite modes like Griffball, and the absence of these alternate modes makes it clear that the Forge is really needed. I really can't wait to see what people can drum up, and hopefully there's a lot of fun to be had. Personally, I really enjoyed the Big Team Battle mode, as I think it's the perfect environment to just mess around with friends. It's just so much fun to be able to hop on vehicles with friends and try and execute your own little missions. Initially, I actually thought the vehicles felt a little bit too strong, as I had seemingly lost entire Big Team Battle games because the enemy managed to get tanks or the Wasps. Thankfully, the game does offer a variety of counterplay options, such as the ability to hijack vehicles, and certain weapons or grenade types which can disable vehicles. In the right hands though, vehicles can still be insane, but either way, they're kinda meant to be a fun thing to mess around with, so I don't think it's a huge deal if they are very powerful. In terms of the maps, I don't really have any major complaints. I think they all feel pretty good to play on, although I think they could definitely use more big team battle maps. The only map which I found a bit iffy was Launch Site, which is supposed to be a 4-on-4 map apparently, but this map is actually just so freaking huge and also includes vehicles, which makes 4v4 kinda silly. The result is often, if your team loses control of these vehicles, you're gonna find yourself hiding a lot in order to avoid getting wrecked. I think another thing the game really has going for it is also the fact that the games are a really solid length, with most matches being no more than 15 minutes. In these 15 minutes, you usually get a good amount of action too, and I feel like as a result, the game is really good for casual play if you want to get something in quick. As for the technical aspects, I don't have too much to say here, to be honest. I think the game looks really solid. It's not drop dead gorgeous or the best looking shooter ever, but the environments are nice, and I think it has good visual clarity, which is really important. I think the audio is really well done too, although it might be a tad loud at times. Obviously you can tweak this in your settings, so it's fairly minor. I think the sound effects when you get kills is really nice and satisfying too, and all the gun sounds are very distinct and have a nice kick to them. So while I do think at its core Halo Infinite has a lot going for it, there are some small nitpicks and things I would like to see them tweak and add. Of course, I already mentioned how there should have been separate playlists for the different game types from the beginning. Again, what year is this? One other really annoying thing is the fact that the game very rarely, if ever, puts you in the same squad as your friends in a big team battle. Again, like the whole playlist thing, this seems like something so basic that games have been doing it for forever, but for whatever reason, they just don't have it here. Seriously, please fix this so I can easily find my friends on the map. Another issue I ran into was the fact that there's no reconnect function in ranked matches. I had issues with the game when trying to play ranked, and as a result, I was crashing pretty much every other match. It sucked because I had no way of reconnecting, so not only did I get credited with a loss, but I also let down my teammates and had to sit there like an idiot while my friends fought for their lives. Right now, I'm avoiding ranked in hopes that this can be fixed. Again though, what year is this? Hasn't this been something which has been in games for years now? I think some of these technical issues also expand beyond just ranked. I have a friend who couldn't connect to any big team battle matches, we've had quite a few disconnects, crashes, and failed loading seems to happen quite often. Also, why is there a 3-second countdown to prep you for searching for a game? Shouldn't it be a countdown before the game actually starts? Additionally, while I do like that they have a fairly in-depth match history and replay system, I find it quite odd that they don't have some sort of career stats. It doesn't even need to be public, but I think knowing my own stats is important and has been something in pretty much every shooter ever. Finally, I guess I gotta talk about progression and the battle pass. There were some initial complaints that leveling up took way too long, as gaining experience was very largely based around completing specific objectives, rather than how well you did in a game. I definitely did agree with this when first starting out, as even getting the first 2 levels, which should be the easiest levels to accomplish, felt like it took a little too long. I think they've been working a lot to address this issue though, and it does feel a lot better now. I feel like I've said this over and over again, but really, I do think Halo Infinite's multiplayer is a very solid experience, which honestly is nice considering the fact that the run-up to the release of Infinite was pretty fraught with issues. While there are some things which could definitely be improved, I believe that at its core, Infinite is really well done. Maybe it's not something that will blow your mind or is the next great shooter, but it's well made and really helps fill a niche in the FPS world which has seemingly disappeared ever since the BR craze took over. Not only that, but a BR might be on the horizon, and assuming they are building off the core mechanics they have in place here, I think there's a lot of potential for Halo Infinite. It's free to play, so there's really no reason not to give it a shot if you're even remotely interested. I'm giving Halo Infinite a 3 out of 4. To me, it seems like a good entry into the Halo franchise, and it'll definitely be a game I play to get a quick fix in and to mess around with friends. But let me know what you think. Have you tried Halo Infinite, and what did you think of it? And of course, if you made it this far, I truly do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button as it really helps my channel. And as usual, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.